All right, 100%, way too much to talk about for 5 minutes. So let's just run through the highlights. Number one, obviously Biden's gonna win. I mean, you're not even gonna see this until well after the win. In fact, like 10 years after the win, so it doesn't matter. I'm a little bit disappointed, but also like a little bit relieved. And also I realized there's another opportunity, which is that now I can compare liberal responses to Trump to liberal responses to Biden if he does something similar. Yeah, I guess it is good to switch up the regime so that we can, I guess that gives you more material for critical thinking evaluation. So here are the things that we want to run through. Today, Will and Aude came by and we finished building Neo's niche. En anglais, what are we doing here?
Home from Neo. No, for Neo.
For Neo.
For Neo. A home.
Ok, very good. For Neo, a home. Est-ce que tu veux ajouter quelque chose, genre le mot construire ou...
Construire. Made. Build.
Build, very good. We're building a home for Neo, very good. Secondly, before they came by, Anne came by.
Je l'enregistre, voilà.
Anne is someone who had come by a few weeks ago. She just stopped at my camp and was just like, hey, or she just stopped and stared, I guess. And then so I went to go talk to her and be like, you know, what's up? And we chatted and stuff. And there was this Polish guy out here that she wanted to introduce me to. She said he's super smart and well cultivated. Wait, no, we're running through the list. So there's Anne, there's Will and Aude, and there's also the conversation with Will and Aude about people who come to France to just do nothing and just survive based on, you know, government handouts. What else was there? There's my dream last night. Man, I dreamt about Chelsea, and even now as I say that, I have this fantasy that Chelsea sees this and we get back together. Chelsea is my main ex. She's the one who we were exclusive for for a year and a half. And she's the only one I really thought, oh, this is the one. This is the one. But even in my dream, I remembered why I broke up with her, which is that she wasn't necessarily the most considerate person, a bit of a princess. But I just had this dream. I just missed people and those interactions. So much fun, the flirting and the wondering who likes whom and the competition. And oh, I miss that. I miss that. And I just don't see that in my future, and that sometimes makes me sad. There's nothing more fun. I don't think there's anything more fun or exciting than flirting, and then, you know, maybe you're flirting with a couple people and you don't know which of them is actually interested in you or which of them is flirting with multiple people. You don't know which one. I don't know. That's the most amazing thing. I miss that. I miss that. I mean, it doesn't lead anywhere. It's a temporary high, but I miss it. So what I have to do is I have to just get famous and rich with this channel so that if once a year I want to, I can just go to the club and just connect with normal people, I guess. Oh, speaking of normal people, one thing I meant to mention in one of my videos the other day is it's so funny because so I'm not normal. And when I came out here, I got along pretty well with some of the people out here. I mean, you know, they seemed a little bit off, but everybody seems off to me. Normal people seem off to me, stupid as fuck and stupid rules and all this stuff. But the people here, they're much more frank. Obviously, you know, less of a filter, and it's just, I don't know, it's just nice. And so I actually had convinced myself that the people that I'm interacting with here are actually kind of normal, until I would hang out with someone from the woods and someone from my other life or former life at the same time, and I'm like, oh, I see exactly what you're seeing right now. You must think he's absolutely nuts. But I also see what the homeless guy is seeing. It's like, why is this bitch not saying anything? Like, why is her mouth shut? Because the homeless people, I won't say all homeless people, that's not true. That's stupid. But my true friends, they just love to talk, no filter and so on. And, you know, and you've got someone thinking about all these social codes, obeying them, being reserved, and it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Live a little bit. So, I don't know. Okay, so let's start off. So we've already run out of time, basically. We're at 4 minutes and 30 seconds. So either what's gonna happen is I'm gonna allow myself, I still haven't edited since the first batch of videos, which finished like on the 18th or on the October 18th. So either what I'm gonna do is this is being shown right now on another day's vlog, or I'm allowing myself maybe once a week to cheat. I don't see how that makes sense. It's like, if you're gonna have rules, have them. So maybe I will instead be putting this at the end of other videos. And look, we just wasted 45 seconds talking about that. Great. Okay, so let's start off with Anne. Anne is a 60-something-year-old woman. Maybe this is a photo of her. Maybe I'm not showing you a photo of her. French are very weird about photos, and so even the fact that she let me take one, I already knew she was a little bit different. But I don't know how she would like this being on my channel. Then again, I don't think I'm going to give her my channel, but we're going to get to that. I see Anne walking down the path, and so I go and I meet her. And we chit-chat, and she asked me about my camp or about Neo or something, and it's like, you know what, as long as you don't touch my dog, you can come onto the camp, but do not touch him. She's like, oh no, yeah, I won't. She comes onto the camp. Of course, Neo's so nice. She goes, hey, can I touch him? I'm like, no. So I say to her, and this is an interesting experience that I often have, whenever I talk about my critical thinking things, you know who I get the most nods from? And I don't know why. I mean, I don't know why I get more nods from them than from other people, but it's religious people. I swear to you, if you mention critical thinking, like black Christians, this woman, I don't know, and maybe I'm completely misjudging my past experiences. I don't trust my unconscious, so maybe this is total bullshit, but it seems to me that it's people who are religious who are most there with me when I say the words critical thinking, not when I explain it necessarily, but a little bit. Like when I said, for instance, to Anne today, I said, you know, my interest is in beliefs and in rationality, and you know, we think we're so smart, but we're really not. We make all these mistakes and we don't realize it. And she actually kept finishing my sentence when I was saying things, or maybe just repeating what I said. So she was like, yeah, we think we're so smart. Yeah, we don't realize that we're making these mistakes. And I was like, oh, maybe I have a friend here. Then she starts talking about this prophet, this Christian prophet. Well, she considers the woman a prophet, Anika something.
Pour moi, c'est une prophétesse. C'est la seule qui parle actuellement du réel, au-delà de nos réalités. Hein?
And she starts talking. First, oh, and so that was amazing. That couldn't have been better. Rewind. When I went this morning to go, so this is what you're looking at right now. This is a video of me just kind of looking around the area where I went swimming on Tuesday night, on election night. So at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, I was super drunk and I was on my way back home, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get naked and swim in this river, just swim across and back. And I guess that's where I left my pouch, and so that's that area that you saw. And then of course there's the mattress that you saw. I don't know how I'm timing this, but let's just say here's the mattress of the guy that I thought maybe picked it up. I don't think so anymore because nothing's moved from there. Then again, maybe he went and got a hotel because it is fucking cold. And so maybe as soon as he had that 50 euros, he's put himself up in a hotel. So I don't know. Oh right, so the point is that I was walking to go try to find it. I was like, but I'm not gonna find it. God brought me back my wallet last summer because I was out and about. You know, I wasn't in any kind of a home. I was traveling, and so I needed a ID, and well, no, I hadn't lost my passport. So I don't know why God gave it to me. I guess that's just my unconscious being dumb, because obviously God probably doesn't exist. In any case, I was like, no, I've accepted that this is lost. God's, and of course, another reason that maybe I don't find it is because I accepted that it's not meant to be found. I don't know. I did call several police stations and city halls, so I think I did my best. But it's just my passport, which is gonna be expensive to replace, and my health insurance card, which is free to replace, and my Navigo, which will be free to replace. That's my transport card. So I was like, yeah, no, I know what you're up to, God. I'm not supposed to find this. I'm supposed to maybe not smoke weed this month, or I'm supposed to just, you know, I'm supposed to go to the free restaurants that I can because I have a bike now, so I'm able to do that. Anyway, speaking of bullshit interpretations of things that we can believe sincerely, even if for a moment we can objectively see that it's bullshit. So Anne is at the camp, and we even talked about my wallet or my little pouch. She said, you know, that's how, you know, nothing happens for no reason. I was like, that's right. You know, even as I was looking for my thing today, I was saying it's supposed to be lost. How silly are humans? By the way, future people, don't judge me. You can judge me for this, because I bet you guys have figured out other solutions to whatever. You can judge me for the cigarette, but don't judge me for having that. No, you don't judge me. You're enlightened enough to know that all humans have that sort of instinct to believe that everything happens for a reason, that a God exists, etc. So you don't judge me for sometimes entertaining that. So here's what Anne said that was extremely interesting or apropos, to use the French, which is also used in English, obviously, but maybe you don't know what that means. Apropos means very relevant. Apropos of that means regarding that. So it's very regarding, very relevant. Okay, so, or the propos is also like the subject matter. Anyway, it doesn't matter. She tells me, what does she tell me? She tells me there's a tree of knowledge and a tree of life.
Donc les deux arbres, l'arbre de vie et l'arbre de la connaissance.
And God said, do not take from the tree of knowledge.
Dieu va dire à Adam et Ève, tu peux toucher à l'arbre de vie, mais tu ne peux pas toucher à l'arbre de la connaissance.
Instead, you take from the tree of life until you become a fruit of the tree of knowledge.
Tu as simplement à devenir le fruit de cet arbre. Hein. Donc devenir toi-même la connaissance, donc tu seras le fruit de la connaissance.
You have to become knowledge, because any knowledge that you find on the outside will pervert man.
Mais toute connaissance acquise de l'extérieur pervertit l'homme. Ça pervertit l'humain.
How fucked are we that a woman can say, that a person, and if you're watching this, I'm sorry, you can still be a member of my religious cult. Oh, I can't send this to her. Anyway, I do like you. Yep, fuck it. What was I saying? Oh yeah, how fucked are we? Like, knowledge from the outside will pervert you? You have to become the fruit of knowledge by taking from the tree of life? I mean, I guess there must be some more to that, but I doubt it makes it any more really reasonable. It just makes it sound more reasonable. But that, do you hear how crazy that is? Exterior knowledge will pervert you. Do you see how crazy that is? And even if you see how crazy that is, you may still be like my friends who came by today to help me with the tent, or with Neo's kennel home thing. They were talking about we were talking about Biden and Trump, and Will had a question for me, which was whether Biden will take socialist measures, basically, whether he'll go for social peace. And what he means by that is whether he'll try to appease those people who don't want to do anything, just give them money for free, and then they do fuck all, is basically what he said, and they just have money and blah, blah. And so then he and his mom were both talking about how, yeah, people come here to this country and just to benefit from the government and do nothing. And I'm sure that's true to some extent, but the difference is the anger in their voices. But the difference is the anger in their voices, right? When his mom was talking about that, she was like, you know, they come here, they do nothing, blah, blah. She doesn't hate them. So I may be exaggerating the anger, but when she was listing those things, it was not unclear how she felt about it. You know, they come here, they do this, they do that. So that's the thing. You know, that's kind of how she presented it. Kind of, a little bit more aggressively. Eventually I asked, why do you think they do that? And Will said, because they're lazy. And I said, okay, so there we go. That's where the problem is. I said, that seems like a lazy explanation. It's a very coherent narrative, and I've talked about this in a previous video, the power of a coherent narrative. It's a very coherent narrative, okay? You see people sort of benefiting from the state and they don't do anything, or maybe they're working. Wait, how are they lazy then? Well, no, Will didn't say this. His mom expressed with frustration that sometimes they'll work under the table and then still get government benefits, right? How is that? Is that lazy though? So Will didn't disagree with what she said, so that's why I have to ask, is that lazy? Then again, I do need to clarify that Aude did not use the term lazy, and Will did not talk about people working under the table. However, they both heard the other say that, and there weren't any objections. So anyway, that's a very easy explanation, and just because it's easy doesn't make it wrong, no. I think what makes it wrong is the fact that if you look at throughout history and you look throughout civilizations, some form of racism, whether it's based on race or class or whatever, exists everywhere. Everybody has some explanation for the outgroup's behavior. And it's almost always their character, right? That they are immoral or incompetent or lazy or something else. But the thing is that when with those people throughout history where we've seen that, when the system changed, we saw that that was no longer the case for them. Okay, is that actually true? Do I even have an example of that? No, and I'm sorry. I'm really just speaking on instinct right now. I'm basically committing some mortal sins here. But not really. It's okay to speak on instinct as long as you know that you're speaking on instinct and that you don't actually have anything to back it up with. It's okay to entertain these ideas. The worst is when you speak on instinct and think that you can back it up, but you actually can't. Which is kind of what they were doing. They were like, there was no evidence for this idea that there are these people who are just inherently lazy or whatever, that just want to take advantage of the system. And so I kept trying to offer all these other explanations, like, you know, for instance, the blacks in the U.S. could absolutely be considered lazy and immoral, but there are a lot of alternative explanations besides that's their character. For instance, opportunities, what their peers are doing because of their opportunities, and then also how they feel in the system, right? Do they feel an obligation towards the system? And that's probably the biggest thing. If somebody from North Africa, right, and I'm gonna embarrass myself a little bit, and I'm gonna admit that probably like you, if you're American, you don't really know that there's two Africas. So there's North Africa, which is where the Arabs are, Muslims. There are also black Africans there, of course, like in Chad, etc. But if you look at like Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco, those are Arab Africans, right? So they're Muslim, they're brown instead of black, etc. So if you take someone from Algeria, for instance, and they come here and they're like, what do I need to do to take care of myself and to just have the good life that everybody else seems to be having? I don't remember what my point is, so I'm going to move to my other point, which is that, it's an obligation to society. Why would they feel an obligation to society? I mean, even the way that Will and Aude are talking now, I wouldn't feel welcome here. I wouldn't feel any sort of belonging in this society. And so our most basic instincts are just to take care of the individual and our immediate family, right? It takes another level of education, of experience, and of connection in order to add to that, you know what, no, I'm going to be a member of the community. So like, I'm going to make sacrifices for myself to benefit the community. I'm going to work extra hard. I'm going to do my part, and so on. There are all these social rules, and we don't think through all those things. It's very, very instinctual, basic sort of drives. People say this, okay, I do this. If I don't belong to the system, then I'm an asshole. Okay, then I'm going to belong to the system, and so on. But of course, the Algerians or whoever that comes here, they're not going to feel that way. They don't belong in this system. So for them, it's, oh, look, I can get all these benefits. This isn't really my home. I'm kind of making it my home. And also, nobody in my family is like trying extra hard to assimilate or integrate. So why should I? And also, look how the white French sort of talk about me. They just call me lazy and stuff. So fuck it. Like, why would I put in all this effort just for what? I mean, even if I do well, my cousins are still going to be called lazy. Because of my skin, I'm still going to be considered lazy. Now, of course, none of this stuff is actually really rationally considered. Again, it's just about instinctual drives that I don't really understand yet, or at least can't explain, but probably don't even understand. But anyway, I think it's a lot more complicated than that. The reasons that certain cultures or people in certain places will underperform. And I even said to Will and Aude, I don't think it's possible for any group of people to have evolved without a strong sort of work ethic. There has to be a minimal work ethic, otherwise the society won't survive. So so for a whole people to be lazy, how would they have made it? Now, for them to have been lazy like the last 40 years, okay, yeah, the Europeans came in, they took over, they were like, no, you're not making any more decisions. Okay, now I can understand how the kids could sort of have a lazy mindset, but genetically, they still have the power of the work ethic. Probably. I mean, why wouldn't they? I don't know one way or the other. I just think that calling groups of people lazy when you're looking at such a complicated sociological issue as immigration and so on, and not just sociological, a psychological issue, right? You have no idea what it's like to be born in another country, then come to this country. Maybe nobody around you has the same ambitions as the white French people do, or it just hasn't you know, it just is very difficult to get to that place. And it's just a very complicated issue. So it's so lazy to, anyway. I also hung out with Richard. Richard has a nice tent. Anything else? 21 minutes, 41 seconds. Wow. All right, I think that's it, buddy. Good night. Oh, and one more thing about Anne. She's very into astrology, and we spent a lot of time talking about my sign, my ascending sign, my moon sign, all this stuff. And I missed the opportunity to make her guess what she thought I was, because I was about to do it, and then like 3 seconds later, she asked me when I was born, and I instinctively responded January, and then she was like, well, end of January, and then I stopped her, and I was like, well, what do you think? You've gotten to spend some time with me. So I was like, do you think I'm an Aquarius or a Capricorn? Indeed, she was like, Aquarius. I mean, I can kind of see Capricorn, but I guess Aquarius, and I was like, okay, you're right. I wish I had gotten her to guess, you know, without any other information, but yeah, it's just amazing. It's amazing how compelling astrology is, because she just kept talking about, like, everything, of course, she said made sense, right? Otherwise, nobody would believe it. It sounds right? Like, she was talking about these qualities of mine. I was like, yeah, that's so true about me, you know? And she's like, well, here, I can see the evidence for it here and here. But there have been experiments done that show that we can interpret things often as being fitting for us or corresponding to us, but we are also kind of eager to see things that way and to ignore things that don't quite fit. And then also some things are just so general. Everybody feels a little bit sad. Everybody wants to be a little bit different. Everybody, you know, to some degree. And one thing that was wrong that she said was that I can live out here alone. No, I got a dog. I have visitors. If I were totally alone, well, we'll see. We'll see how I do once we like move out of the mountains if I don't find a community. But that's kind of terrifying. I need to be able to flirt. I need to be able to talk and exchange and laugh and understand better. And so that was wrong. But in any case, but I mean, she could of course justify it. She could say, but no, other people who don't have this, because apparently I have some Capricorn tendencies because of the time I was born or something. And so she could of course respond to what I've just said and say that, well, no, because other people with no Capricorn tendencies just absolutely couldn't do it, and you know, how would we even evaluate or test that, and blah blah. All right, thanks, bud.
Tu veux que je le dise moi-même?
Oui, est-ce que tu peux redire ça?
Annie de Souzenel, elle le dit tellement mieux que moi. Hein.
Ouais, mais en fait, je vais parler de ça justement sur ma vidéo.
Voilà.
De cette conversation.
Voilà. Donc tu veux que je reprenne depuis le début?
Bah du coup, si...
Alors donc les deux arbres